I'm loving the pop off.
What's good? Welcome back to the Pop Off Podcast, a conversation show about football being back. I'm Ralph Compiano, and I'm joined by two experts on the NFL regime, Skyler Riesberg and Nick Bordenaro, two of our favorite Pop Off roster members. And today we are talking about NFL teams winning games. Very simple. Our exercise today is a wins pool draft. So we will each be selecting 5 teams from the NFL, and we will, at the end of the season, be totaling up the total points for each of these teams. Regular season win equals 1 point. Playoff win equals 2 points. Super Bowl win equals 10 points. We thought that this would just be a little bit more fun and entertaining of an exercise than just power ranking teams. This will give us an idea of who we think are the real contenders to win the Super Bowl, to win the most regular season games, and then hopefully some advantages in scheduling perhaps. And we're going to see, where do the Bears fall in this? Are they a top 15 team in our minds? Is there a team like the Seahawks that can sneak up there? Is there a team like the Buccaneers that might surprise people? But I think the top tier is kind of obvious in a lot of ways. The draft order has been predetermined. I have the first pick. Bordy will have the second pick. Riesberg will have the third pick. We'll do it in snake fashion. But just really quick, before we get into the draft itself, we're 2 weeks away from football, a week and a half away from football kicking off between the Ravens and the Chiefs. What is your excitement level right now, Riesberg, as far as just it's been 7 months, man, and we're finally back? How do you feel?
Dude, I mean, it's been 7 months of I'm not a golf guy. I'm not a baseball guy. I pretty much just kind of fall into reading college basketball, NFL, and college football stuff during this whole off season. So, I mean, I'm ready to have something back on the TV. I'm ready to quit watching pointless movies on Sundays and just, get into the thick of it. Watch the Chiefs struggle through the regular season just to three-peat it this year, fingers crossed. But, yeah, dude, I mean, all-time high excitement levels right now for just football to be back. And then that means basketball's around the corner. I mean, best time of the year. We're getting there.
I'm curious.
Bordy, what about you?
What's the offseason like as a Chiefs fan, coming off back-to-back Super Bowls, 3 for Mahomes obviously now. Like, what do you just take a victory lap all offseason, or you ready for the next one?
I'm actually glad you bring that up because this offseason was kind of a shit show a little bit, low-key. I think they were trying to hide it in the press a little bit, but I mean, there was a lot of, I can't remember anything right now when I'm talking about it, but there were a lot of bad headlines for some Chiefs players there for a month. Who was the receiver that was caught speeding and
Rasheed
kind
Rice.
of fled the scene?
Rasheed Rice.
Yeah,
Rasheed.
dude, what the fuck? There was all that drama if we were going to get him. Hollywood Brown's injured now. So, I mean, it's just a shit show of, it's basically reality TV, but on the internet, if that makes sense. Like, they're just trying to throw little interesting things out there just to keep you, I don't know, to keep people engaged. But I would rather have just the victory lap instead of the drama that I felt like as Chiefs fans we were dealing with a little here and there. Like, it made, that banker or that thief, he was robbing banks. He was the KC guy. That was our offseason headline one year. Like, that was a little funny. That was comedic. Not the best thing to be associated with your team, but I think it beats whatever Rashid.
That's just the average Kansas City fan, just robbing banks to buy Chiefs tickets. That's the most normal Chiefs fan.
You can't question his passion.
Well, and there's always the boiling pot of the Mahomes family. It's like Jackson can make a really shitty TikTok.
God.
But he's been kind of under wraps, actually, the last few months. I haven't seen any Jackson stuff. You got Pat Mahomes Sr., who's, just reeling in OWIs the same way his son is reeling in. Oh,
he's sober. He's 4 months sober now.
They're locking him away, too. him and Jackson got to watch at home.
Locking people in a basement right now.
It's Taylor Swift's booth now.
Yep, Taylor Swift's booth, Kelsey. That kind of took away from all of it. But, Bordy, what about you? I mean, you're a Cowboys fan, so is this like an existential doom that you feel when the season is approaching, or are you excited? Because, as a Bears fan, I don't just like watching the Bears. That's not me. And I think I'm the same way as a lot of NFL fans. I just love the NFL. I love all 32 teams. Maybe not like watching the Raiders or the Giants, but every other team, I have legitimate excitement for it.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys are same story every year. You know, you don't even really need to harp on it. CD will be back. He's not going to pass $10 million or whatever he's owed. Nobody's done that since Le'Veon. I just hate the conversation around that. Like, is Jamar's going to sit out for 2 years? It just makes no sense. We'll get him paid. So I'm really excited. Coming into the league is just getting better and better. Really, QB talent maybe getting better and better with the likes of Caleb, May. People are excited about Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels. So yeah, we got some rookie quarterbacks starting. We got a lot of good teams, or a lot of teams with high hopes. It'll be interesting to see how everything unravels, who falls apart. Most of them will.
Yeah, the new quarterbacks are always fun. It feels like every single year it's like, oh, this is the best that quarterbacks have ever been. Like, we had the golden age of like the Rivers and the Bradys, Mannings, Roethlisberger, and Breeze, and now we're entering kind of like a new territory where it's Lamar, Josh, Burrow, Mahomes, and then who can kind of escalate into that area? Can it be Stroud like he was last season? Herbert, can he climb that? So that's always my most interesting thing. It's like, I just like watching the quarterbacks, and I think that's actually going to determine a lot of my picks in this draft. So I think we should just start right away. I'm not going to be an idiot. I'm not going to overthink it. I looked at the 32 teams, and I just felt like I would have been stupid if I didn't take Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs here. I think their win total right now is at 10.5. I'll have to double check.
I saw that
usually around
12 on
12
FanDuel.
Yeah, I thought they were 12.
11.5. So, I mean, I'm not saying to go over or under on that. I'm not encouraging anybody to take that prop. I think if there is ever a season where they might underperform in the regular season, it could be this one. They're already talking about, not like putting Kelsey like on a reps count. That makes me a little bit nervous, but just going out and getting Hollywood and getting a Xavier Worthy, like they just have so much explosion in that receiver room. And then, losing guys like L'Jarius Sneed, like I think for any other organization, that would be like the biggest deal in the world. Like, let's say that the Broncos lost Surtain or the Jets lost Sauce. I think that that's going to be detrimental to their defense. With the Chiefs and with Spagnuolo, I just don't think it's quite as dramatic. I think McDuffie steps up, and I think that they get guys in that room. And I think that's probably the most underrated thing about the Chiefs. It's like we look at them as Mahomes and glitz and glamour, and yes, you're going to win games with him at quarterback. But I think their internal player development is probably better than almost any other teams. Like you look at Kelsey, like going from quarterback to tight end at Cincinnati and then coming in here and becoming one of the greatest tight ends of all time. You look at a guy like Karlaftis, who's a late first-round pick. You look at guys like Chris Jones or even the Trey Smiths of the world. It just seems every single year they're getting people in the draft. They're holding on to them. They're being patient with them. I don't even remember who their first-round pick was last year, but he like didn't play a snap. And that's such a luxury for a team that you don't have to play your first-round pick at all and you can still go win a Super Bowl. And I just anticipate it's going to be much of the same. They have the best offensive, I think probably the best coach in the league now, actually, since Belichick is retired. I think we can say that about Andy Reid, and the best quarterback. So I'll take the Chiefs with the first pick.
Love that pick.
I'm sure you do.
So this is not who's going to win the Super Bowl. This is regular season wins. So I don't know if I would have taken the Chiefs first.
Playoff wins, do those count for anything?
Playoff wins will count for 2 points. Regular season wins count for 1 point. The Super Bowl counts for 10 points.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Should have read the rules.
Love that pick then.
Well, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you on 10 points. What you were saying with the Chiefs. Couldn't have said it better myself about the player development. I'm just going to leave it at what you said. I put it perfectly. I think it's really goes unnoticed. I think the player development, because everybody does get lost in the glitz and glam. I do think that this should be, it kind of feels like it should be a little bounce back year in the regular season. It would just be a little weird if we continue to be a little stagnant and then just keep hitting the playoff push when we need to. I mean, maybe that is the identity that this team is going to become, but I don't see that. I think they're a good regular season team, but I guess it's your pick, so.
No, well, one more thing on the Chiefs is I think they were like bottom third in the league last year in rushing DVOA. And then that became like one of their strong suits in the playoffs. So I think they actually found another avenue to be efficient on offense with Pacheco. Like we talked about Pacheco a lot, and
What's
a
up?
lot of it like in a joking manner, but he's just so fucking good now, and I think he's gonna. I don't know where he's going in fantasy drafts, but I would be happy to have him as one of my running backs in my lineup any given week.
It's all calculated too. If you even when they weren't playing last year, they let it kind of get out of hand, and like you said, I think down their groove at the end of the season. I think they knew what it was going to be the whole time with the way they built that O-line. They paid Creed Humphrey. They haven't paid a tackle in years. And a guy like Pacheco, man, he could fucking run the rock.
Poor Clyde Edwards.
Yeah,
Just third string sitting back there.
The development didn't work out for him very well. All right, Bordy, you're up. Who are you taking with the second pick?
I am going to take a team I hate with everything in my heart. I'm going to take the Eagles. So the Eagles started 10-1 last year, and then all broke loose. I think they lost 6 of their there's rumors about Sirianni and Hurts not getting along. Blah. Just an unreal built team from the D-line to the O-line. Hurts is healthy for now, which he played banged up all last year. Got Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Saquon now leading the backfield. They reloaded at center. Line is still top-notch. They just take care of business, you know. I think they can contend for the Super Bowl. I don't know if they'll make the game or win it, but they're definitely picking up 12 to 13 wins. Like easy. Like fucking get out of bed, 12, 13 wins, I think.
Yeah, I love the term, I think it's get off the bus team, where if you're like one of the media members or you're the coach of the other team and you just see like the other team get off the bus and you see A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, fucking Fletcher Cox, still
just the big boys,
Jalen Carter,
even Lane
Jordan
Johnson.
Davis. I mean, you just see those guys get off, and you're like, now they have Devin White too as a middle linebacker, even Cooper DeJean in the draft. Like,
Love.
Did the Bears get fired?
yeah. No,
Nice.
Bears got Byard.
Good for you
But
guys.
I mean, yeah, they're returning Darius Slay. They have Dallas Goedert. It's like they might have
picked
the most
DeJean,
pure
they picked
talent.
Kenyon Mitchell. They got 2 sick rookies. Like it's just kind of fucked. Like how aggressive the Eagles free agency, and it seems like they always draft to please the fans. Cowboys will hang tough with them, but the Eagles will dog walk a lot of the NFC, especially the Giants and the Commanders.
I think my biggest concern with this pick would be Hurts. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I feel like it's like a talking point on like First Take a lot. Like, who's a better quarterback, Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts? And I like to do the thought exercise of like, all right, if these two dudes just traded situations, who would be more successful than the other? And I think if you put Dak in this offense with that offensive line and those weapons, I just think that he's going. Yeah. I think they would be better off. Yep. And if you put Jalen in Dallas, I don't think it's going to be as successful. And so I was thinking about that and the Sirianni stuff. I don't even think those are rumors. I think it's reported. It's been true. Like, it's been for a couple of years now. And it's weird because they're both like rah-rah guys, just in different ways. Like Sirianni's talking about like metaphors of like watering a plant, and Jalen Hurts like only speaks in Instagram captions. But for some reason, like they just butt heads.
I think
and
what
I'm not
it's
sure
coming
if it's
down
an
to
offensive identity or what.
I think it is offensive identity. I think Hurts wants to throw the ball, and I think Sirianni knows what his team needs to do to win, and that's fucking run the ball. I mean, when they were feeding Swift last year, they were killing it, and then they start throwing it around. Hurts is banged up, so we'll see. Kick it to
Hasn't
Riesberg.
Dak kind of been in that situation, though, you think, where he's kind of had that caliber of a team that the Eagles have now? And, I mean, he's had a good regular season, but probably lost to the 49ers in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know if he's ever had this good of a roster. Like, this roster's insane.
We've won 12 games 3 years in a row. The problem with Dak has never been the regular season. It's just, it comes down to that. He's the light-skinned Romo. Good regular season QB with not a clutch bone in his body.
Can't escape him.
Well, he can't escape his name. We talked about it last year, but his name is Dakota, and that just isn't as strong of a name as Jalen. Like, there's no two ways about it. I think this is a good pick, though, just because you're right. Like
against Kansas City 2 years ago.
Maybe his best 2 years ago, right? But that's what I'm saying. It's like last year, was that the Carson Wentz season where it's like, because I could see this going the Wentz route where it's like, oh my God, he's Philly's savior. He's going to be our quarterback for 12 to 15 years. And then before you know it, it's like, oh shit, he just peaked early and now he's fallen off. Because, that's the most impressive thing with a guy like Mahomes is defenses have been designed to stop him and nothing has worked. Even if it does work a little bit, his defense ends up backing him up. Like, that's the issue here. It's that the Chiefs are such a well-rounded team where with Hurts, like, teams have designed to stop him, and it didn't work the last half of the season. I'm not sure if that was a motivation thing because, again, that was the weirdest end to a season ever for a team that started at, 10-1, 11-1. Like, they were lights out the first 3 months of the season. And then it was like, oh, shit, like, somebody Instagram DM'd each other's bitch.
Coming out, they had 1 loss. 10 wins, 1 loss. And reports coming out that it's the most miserable locker room in the league. Like, we'll see if something's going on there, but they won 11 or 12 games last year, all hating each other. Maybe they can get over it.
All right, Riesberg, you are on the clock. You got 2 picks back to back. Let's hear your first one.
Yeah, I got 2 ready to go. I mean, these are just obvious choices. There's one that I'm leaving on the board that I'm pretty sad about. I think they're pretty underrated. We'll see when we get to them. But, I mean, back to back, I'll go 49ers first. I mean, just a team that's hungry, still ready to go. I think I always look for teams that are run from the top down pretty well. I feel like the Colts are a team that are run from the top down pretty well that – I don't know what fucking point I'm trying to make there.
Shout out there. Random
shout out
plug for the Colts.
Shout out Colts, but just teams that are when they got the GM, when he's clicking, then it trickles down. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the 49ers have that so well.
Yes. John Lynch is a professional badass. He used to play with Elway. He's the GM of the Niners.
Hall of Fame
and he's
safety.
like, you know what? I'm a badass. What do I need? I need a tactician. I need a genius. So I get Shanahan, and he can do all of that stuff. And then I'm just going to fill my team with badasses. We talked about the Eagles being a get-off-the-bus team. Imagine getting off the bus and seeing Trent Williams and Debo with that big-ass speaker on their shoulder fucking blasting Kodak. That's how you get off the motherfucking bus. And then there's pictures of Brock Purdy in the offseason, and his calves look like Trent Williams' arms. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, they got some badasses over here. And, yeah, they're hungry. I mean, 2 Super Bowls in the last 3-4 years, 0-2 in both of them. I think they're just as hungry as ever. I think the Ayuk contract dispute, that'll be over with soon enough. He'll remain.
I'm not even worried about any of that stuff. Yeah.
I think you still have guys like Jawan Jennings, Kittle, and, you have Christian McCaffrey, dude. Like, they're going to be all right.
They feel super safe for at least 10 wins being a floor. And then I got to go, it was 49ers and I got to go Ravens again. Just another team, regular season warriors. Not sure how they're going to do in the playoffs, but they have been getting better year by year. I will say that. Every time they go back, they seem to improve a little. So we'll see what happens. I think they're good for at least 12 wins, though. They just always seem to put it together in the regular season, and then wheels kind of fall off in the playoffs. So that might come to bite, but
adding
I feel stupid if I
Derrick
didn't take
Henry
him
to
here.
that team is fucking crazy. Like, boggles
You
my
think
mind.
he's going to be the actual bell cow? Because they're not a team that does that, but he's a bell cow back. They always operate with 2 to 3 guys.
Keaton Mitchell is going to be out for the first half of the season. Gus left, obviously. So I think that leaves Justice Hill.
Yeah, Dobbins still?
No, Dobbins is in L.A. He's on the Chargers. I think Justice Hill is back up, good receiving back. But halfbacks, I think, had 20 touchdowns last year. And just the threat of Lamar and Derrick Henry, I don't know how you even guard a read option. That just sounds insane. You got Mark Andrews, you got Likely, finally a good receiver in Zay. It's a good pick. I just think there might be too many mouths to feed. And they lost the D coordinator.
Oh, nothing wrong with that.
We'll see how it's Greg Roman, I think, offensive coordinator still. So see how they work in his offense.
I feel like a big part of that is on Zay a little. Just in that offense, he's kind of him and Likely. I mean, we saw what Likely could do at the end of the season last year, but I mean, can Zay be a number one guy? I mean, he's had his moments, but can he take that step and kind of be a star?
And who's
Or
behind
he's
him?
going to be a mediocre?
Who they got with him?
Exactly.
You got to have threats, otherwise the defense
Rashad
is going to key. Yeah, I think Bateman's the 2, and Might have another rookie,
I
but
don't mind that.
still a solid team. Great O-line. They're always good on defense.
Well, their O-line is taking a little bit of a dip, actually, but you still have Linderbaum at the
God,
center of it.
You going to break the news,
But-
everybody?
Well, no, it's not even that. It's just like
Their
Breaking
O-line
Ravens,
died
like-
today. Fucking died today.
What?
Is that what
Did
you...
they just text you guys that? Is that how you guys know?
No, somebody told me earlier. Ravens O-line coach fucking dead. Rest in peace.
I mean, this is news to me. That's.
I thought that's what you were
rest in
gonna
peace to
say.
the Ravens line coach.
You were like-
no, like they've
It's like a
actually like
Schefter
they've
Rose
lost some
report?
talent.
Just break that?
I was just. I think you
Did
did,
you,
just break
did
it
you
to me.
break that?
Bordy Schefter. I just think that like there's organizations where I never worry, like if they have like maybe a talent dip in that area, like especially their linebackers too. I just trust that for some reason once they put on that uniform, they're just going to be good. Like Ravens O line, Ravens linebackers. I think the same thing could be attributed to like
Safeties.
Steelers
Hamilton.
D line. Yes, safeties for the Ravens. I guess any part of the defense for the Ravens just ends up working out. But I don't know,
It
man. I
does.
just think aesthetically, like, it's going to be so fucking cool to see Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry lined up next to each other. It's just
That's
going
a
to
get
be
off
like,
the bus team.
oh,
That's a get off the fucking bus
that's
team,
the
man.
bus team too. It's like a Madden Ultimate team.
I'd
like,
fucking
okay,
back
we,
on the bus if I saw them.
yeah,
Be
right.
like,
I mean, just Derrick Henry getting off the bus. You're like, all right.
like
I'm
imagine
good.
that read option. What do you
Well,
do?
and
there?
it's two
You gotta
different
put
types
two,
of, like,
two guys on both of them.
Impossible to tackle both of them, right? For two
Yeah.
different reasons. You can't get Lamar, and then you can't bring down Derrick. So, and they've tried and that's what's interesting too is the two of the four teams that have been picked. They both got new running backs, right? The Eagles went out and got Saquon.
Yep.
The Ravens went out and got Derrick Henry. So I think a smart thing that they did was there's kind of been a dip in the running back market, and they're like, it's just gotten out of hand. Like, we're not just going to plug and play Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins and Keaton Mitchell anymore. Let's go get a fucking stud. Let's go get somebody that can win us some games. And I think that they were overvalued at Le'Veon, that kind of era, and now they've been undervalued. So they're like, you know what? We have the offensive line. We have the quarterback. Let's go do it.
Fuck the whole game up with running back contracts. Just everything the Cowboys do is wrong. It breaks my heart. But
You going to take him right here, Bordy? You're back on the clock.
they've gotten 12 wins, 3 straight years. McCarthy has proven himself as a caller. I like Zimmer, the coordinator. Yeah, give me the boys. Give me 2 NFC East teams to beat the shit out of the other 2 NFC East teams. The 2 teams I
Very
got,
interesting.
each 4 automatic dub. The Eagles might drop a shitty one to Lions. Lions haven't beat us in years. Redskins ain't gonna fucking beat us. I think we get 11-12. I like our over on the win total. I think our win total is only 9 or 10. 10 games is reachable. CD will be back. We got CD Cooks. Blaze out for a few weeks, which is tough. Diggs is coming back. I like this defense. The Cowboys' defense under Quinn was electric, but we're going to be a little more on our cues now. We're not going to, hopefully, not going to by the Packers like that in a playoff game. We were thin at linebacker. We just signed a bunch of D tackles. I don't see
Were you
how
a
we
little
don't win
worried
12
about
games.
CD leaving the team this offseason?
Worried
Or
about
were
it,
you not
no,
putting too much
because
stock in those reports.
too much stock into it, but I feel like Jerry just has a sour taste in his mouth after that Packers playoff game. I know you guys might not remember it as well as every Cowboys fan,
I
and
remember
Jerry
it
does. It was
vividly.
embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And CD basically
It was
quit in the
weird.
CD quit in the first quarter. He was arguing. First time it happened in CD's whole career. He's arguing with people on the sideline. He's acting like a diva. And Jerry really doesn't
So
have
you think
to pay
Jerry
him.
was throwing shade?
I don't think he hasn't paid Dak. McCarthy's got 1 year left on his contract. He gave Zimmer a 1 year contract. He's telling all these fuckers to prove it, but they all think they already won at life. They play for the Cowboys. They need paid. So, but we'll win 12 regular season games. I'm willing to bet on that, but we'll see.
Jerry just
Well,
closed
Dak
the
was-
bank.
I think
Dak
we're the
was, like,
best team.
third
I
in
fully
MVP
believe we're
last
the
year.
best team left on that board. I'm not buying the Texans in year 2. I'm not buying.
I see a
I don't
team.
even know who could. Yeah, we'll find out with Vid's next pick, I guess. Probably the fucking
Yeah,
Bears.
I got a couple of teams that I like more than the Cowboys. The Cowboys line's at 9.5 right now.
Oh, that's an
Your
easy
point about
over.
Quinn
Easy
leaving,
over.
I agree. I think it's
yeah.
an over. Quinn leaving, goes to Washington
Easy
to be the head
though.
coach there, but they bring in Mike Zimmer, who is a veteran
Be a
defensive
9-1
coordinator.
team.
He hasn't. The last time he was coaching he was the head coach of the Vikings, and now he's just gonna be able to lock in on the love of his life and just call defense with Micah Parsons and Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs. And yeah, sure, like you lose Van Der Esch, and that's gonna sting a little bit, but I'm betting on DeMarvion Overshown. I think that could be fun. He's quite a
We'll
freaky
see. We'll
athlete.
see a linebacker.
Yeah, so we'll see. And you can put Micah there too. That's what he originally got drafted as, was a middle linebacker. So I think Zimmer's going to have a lot of fun with him. He's not only going to put him at edge rusher. That's why I think he's probably the best defender in the league, is because he's so versatile. Like at Penn State, he was a middle linebacker. And then they just figured out, oh, literally nobody can stay in front of him. Let's put him at edge. And then, yeah, you have, I think, in my personal opinion, a top 8 quarterback. I think that he's light-skinned Peyton Manning in the regular season, and then he becomes light-skinned Romo once we get to the playoffs. But if you're going regular season wins here, that's 1 point for each of them.
Gotta take your
This
points.
is tough. This is real
One at
tough.
a time. No, you got this.
I'm just going to bet on who I think is the best quarterback left on the board, and I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills
Yes.
and Josh Allen. You lose Steph Diggs,
That's
and
Milano.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Out for the
I
season.
really
I don't
don't.
think it's that big of a deal at all, dude.
The Milano injury, I think, is actually a bigger deal than the Stephon Diggs departure, because Milano's, the center of that defense, but they still got a lot of talent on the D-line. Russo, Ed Oliver, Von
God,
Miller,
Russo
one more
is
year with
just
him, I suppose.
OP, man. He is so
And I think they might have
awesome.
lost both their safeties too, and Poyer and Hyde. I'd have to double check, but you still got some serious talent on that side of the ball. And I just think that Josh Allen, I think it's similar to he's not Mahomes. Like, it's Mahomes and then it's everybody else. But I think that he's as close to Mahomes as anybody ever will be at this point. I just believe in the talent so much. He's literally white Cam Newton, except a little bit smarter.
It seems like every time they match up, Allen's going throw for throw with them, putting the nerves in me. I mean, if Allen had a couple things go his way and there were some wins over them, like Joe Burrow has against the Chiefs, that would strike a little more fear in me. Always kind of have that mindset that they're always going to find a way against the Bills. But, I mean, you go to that 13-second game, Josh Allen didn't lose that game. I mean, he just ran out of time. Couldn't do anything, didn't have a possession back. So, love that pick, love the Bills. They always seem to find a way to just make a push at the end and win their division.
And I also just love, I think they're going to, especially with Diggs out of it, I think they're going to have a lot of 12 personnel out there. Kincaid and Knox just kicking some ass. I think James Cook takes another step this year.
They know they're
getting
getting
Dawkins in that offensive line.
They know they.
Yeah,
Do you
they
think
know
that was
they're
a
gonna
really
be
good
some bucks.
mutual departure for Diggs? Really good for the Bills and also for Diggs' career. I feel like he's kind of getting lost out in the Bills. What's really going on there anymore? It's kind of getting
What's
diva
funny about
status
it?
at the
It's
end.
like,
He
it's
wants
like, all right, let's say
BBLs
you have
from
a
Atlanta
girlfriend,
or Houston.
a girlfriend that's really sketchy and just really dramatic. How are you going to replace her? You'd think you probably go the smart, responsible route, maybe go get a Lad McConkey in the draft. Instead, they go get somebody twice as ignorant in Keon Coleman. There was a hilarious clip the other day that the Bills socials posted. It's training camp time. There's all these NFL teams and their media teams will hold up a question, and as the guys are walking to the locker room, they'll look at the question and the camera and be like, "What's your go-to song before you walk out on the field?" And everybody will answer it, and they'll keep walking. They did one, and it said, "Name a random NBA player." And Keon Coleman walks by, and then he turns around, and I shit you not, he stayed in front of the camera for the full 2.5 minutes as his teammates were walking by, and he was just Anderson Varejao, Sasha Pavlovich, Sasa Vujicic. He was just rattling off
just
random
showing
NBA
everybody
players
out.
left and right.
Yeah.
It
Dude,
was
at one point, I
hilarious.
think he started pointing at other players, already said that name. Next,
Yep.
next, get out of here.
He's so fucking fun, and I think he's good. I think he's a stud.
He's
I
a talent.
loved him at Florida State, so I think he's gonna be talented. And yeah, man, Josh Allen. I'll bet on Josh Allen. Next pick, I will go with. I'll go with the Detroit Lions here.
Oh,
And
Okay.
they're one game away from getting to the Super Bowl last year, and they very well could have won that game in San Francisco.
people
I
wanted
think my San Francisco thing, it's like, is there too much of a hang up, too much of a hangover from the last couple of years where the Lions are in a position similar to where San Francisco was like 2 years ago? I think that it's just been so much emotional trauma and baggage with the Niners because they've been contenders for so long and haven't gotten over that hump, where the Lions are still new to this. Like, I think we're thinking of them as like a veteran, experienced winning team, but really it's been one season of sheer like, oh shit, they are a contender. And I just love, like, you lose Josh Reynolds, but now you're going to have a full season of Jameson Williams. And this could be the year for Jameson Williams, a guy that Bordy and I have loved since his days at Bama, just because we love speed on this side. And you got Gibbs and Montgomery as another group together, Laporta in his second year, Goff another year in that offense.
Monty.
And probably like the most important didn't leave the organization move this summer was Ben Johnson, staying the offensive coordinator. He didn't get offered a head coach job, so he's staying in Detroit. Another year of familiarity. Love Dan Campbell. I think the defense is going to be a hell of a lot better, too. Hutchinson is a fucking stud. Love Brian Branch. They go out and get Carlton Davis from the Buccaneers, lockdown corner. They're like the one team in the NFC where I'm like, I wouldn't be shocked if they beat a Niners, a Lions, something like that in a playoff game. Or if they were the number one seed. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they were the number one seed.
God, I've been hearing a lot of buzz about JMO this offseason. And, I mean, you kind of let it be known how you feel, what your thoughts on JMO are. But what are your thoughts on not JMO, the NFL player, but the JMO whiskey? You guys JMO fans?
I mean, I have a player on my team named Jameson. He's the boy. He's a little light-skinned kid, had braids, ended up shaving them and going full like 2013 Drizzy on the track with a buzz cut. Looked good with it. And I call him JMO. And every time I call his name, I feel a little burn in my chest.
I definitely
one
had
of my favorite drinks to this day.
I definitely had a Jameson run during that True Detective period, and McConaughey's just slamming shots of Jameson. There's that Woody Harrelson that's sucking on Don Dario's knock. Is that Woody?
Yeah,
it's Woody.
Yeah, that's Woody. Yeah, Woody's got Dario.
I think he was drinking Jameson in that scene.
Well, Berg, I was at I was with our boy Nicky Motz the other night. Shout out Nicky Motz. Hashtag Nicky Motz.
Shout out Nicky Motz.
And I was like, we got to get a shot, dude. Got to get a shot. And I was looking between Jameson and Crown Apple, and I actually ventured over to the Crown Apple. I thought it'd go down a little bit easier. But you know that your night is on a different trajectory once you take a JMO shot down.
I think everyone's had a good JMO run in their life. I mean, I remember my JMO run during a summer a few years ago. I mean, it's just legendary stuff when you look back, just the power that whiskey can give you. This isn't an ad.
I bet Georgia Tech some fucking JMO this weekend. Or you think they headed back home and they're looking forward to next week?
Yeah, they went from Jameson in Ireland to Hennessy in Atlanta.
Yep.
Okay, so just a quick rundown of the teams that have been picked so far. We are now 7 teams in. I have the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Lions. Bordy has the Eagles and the Cowboys. He's going to take another NFC East team right here with his third pick. And then Riesberg has the 49ers and the Ravens. Okay. Bordy, you are back up. Who is your third team?
See, this is kind of get gross. Are the Texans the best team on this board? The Dolphins, Packers, all these teams have question marks still around them. But then you got like the Jets, who you just know something is going to go wrong.
Let me ask you this way. If everything goes right for all of these teams on the board, who would be the number one pick? Because I think it's probably the Jets.
Yeah, there's question marks on that defense this year. The secondary is still good, but they lost John Myers, they lost Bryce Huff, they got Hassan Reddick having a mental lapse.
They got the Iowa State boy.
They got McDonald, who didn't play last year.
Forget his name. Yep.
They have the benefit of the doubt on that. They got a good deep D-line. I mean, I think if everything goes how you said, I think it's the Texans. I mean, that is just talented. You got good tackles, 4 great receivers with Nico, Tank, Dick, and Mechie. Mechie could be a fucking 2 on a lot of teams. Dalton Schultz, good tight end, good backup tight end. Yep. Mixon is a big question mark at halfback. I don't know if he has left.
CJ Stroud's favorite for most passing yards.
I picked him in 2 fantasy leagues today. So making a big year out of him.
Are you taking the
I feel
Texans?
like everyone that's drafted
Is that
CJ
confirmed?
Stroud in
Yeah,
fantasy
I was in the
feels like they
Texans.
kind of snuck away with something.
They got Daniel Hunter to pair alongside Will Anderson. I feel like they got another.
Okay.
Stingley's the top corner in the league. I feel like they got a line.
I love that
too,
pick.
but
They got Diggsy boy.
I don't think they'll be a Super Bowl winner, but I think they might grab 10 wins just for the exercise.
Well, this is the correct pick because
No way they get Super Bowl.
the last
No,
time
this
a
is.
player came into the league and lit up the league in their first year as a passer, like CJ did last year, last two times, were Herbert and Mahomes. Mahomes came into the league, technically his sophomore season because he was essentially a redshirt rookie, came in, lit it up, and then the next year won the Super Bowl, correct? Or did they win it that first year?
That first year that he started, I want to say they did.
They won it against the
I wanna
Niners,
say they
and
did.
I think the next year they lost to Tampa Bay. Okay.
Yep.
But my thing with Stroud is when you look at those teams, I think the way that I think about this is in terms of
They didn't. Sorry, that was the D Ford's offside. They lost to Brady's Patriots.
Tampa.
Well, I think of this in terms of
Not
head
important,
coach and quarterback, right? And I think DeMeco Ryans, rookie head coach last year, CJ Stroud, rookie quarterback. I think that's their floor.
Rookie coordinator.
I think that's as bad as it's ever
He's
going
the
to be.
stud of the group.
Making it to the fucking NFL. Yeah, I mean they're operating like on a different playing field than a lot of the other teams on the board.
The Texans are. I mean, talk about mouths to feed. They got weapons on weapons.
They got a guy that can get it to him, though. That's good.
Oh yeah.
That's a good problem to have. A lot of mouths to feed if you got a guy like Stroud. It's kind of like when Chiefs had Tyreek, Kelsey, the boys.
Well, it's also like I think of quarterbacks now, especially in this timeline, more like point guards than anything else. And I think CJ is the perfect embodiment of that. I mean, he's a hooper in real life, but like they're not going to deal with the same drama that Diggs had in Buffalo, I don't think. He's going to realize like I have one contract left. Maybe I need to be on my best behavior. And he's also going to look across the receiver room and he's going to see Nico Collins, Mechie, and Tank Dell. And he's going to be like, damn, I'm not head and shoulders better than these other dudes like I was in Buffalo with Khalil Shakir. Like, it's not the same. Like the talent discrepancy isn't that great.
Diggs is playing for a contract, too. He's on the last year of his
Yep,
deal.
playing for a contract. You got to be on your best behavior.
It's got to be good, too, to get away from Gabe Davis. I mean, the more I learn about that guy, is he just like a curse, just a walking curse. The Jags, something's got to go wrong with them this year with him being on that team. But he feels a little cursed. Something I don't want him.
All right, Riesberg, you're up.
Yeah, love that. I'm coming in here happy. I'm in a good position. I get to take the Bengals. I get to take my boy Joe Shiesty.
Interesting.
The new Slim Shady. Yeah, I'll take it. They got second in their. No, they got last in their division last year. I think they're coming back hungry, ready to go. Joe Shiesty, in my head, I'm imagining him returning to, the man we know and love to watch. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be a huge bounce-back season for the Bengals. I think they win the division. I mean, fuck, maybe the Bills do, but whatever. It's always a competitive one. So I think they're walking away with some good wins. I think they have a pretty easy schedule, too, after finishing last in the division last year. And I think it's a little unfair for all the other teams they're playing, probably, where they probably were one of the better last-place teams. That makes sense.
Well, all right.
So I'm high on them. What do you got to say? Because you've just been giving me nothing but dirty looks.
Poke holes in that number. He's about to fucking.
I don't even need to poke holes in the argument. This is all I have. I think that we are going to look back like 5 or 6 years from now, and we're going to look back on the front offices that decided to invest 50 to 60% of their salary cap to 3 players, the quarterback and 2 receivers, kind of the same way that Philadelphia has with Hurts, Brown, and what they've done with Devontae. Yeah, we're going to say to ourselves, fucking dumbasses. Because as good as Jamar Chase is, as good as Joe Burrow is, and as good as T. Higgins can be, I just think that you have to allocate those resources elsewhere. And their defense, they don't have a lot of dudes on that side of the ball. I mean, they have Trey Hendrickson. I love him. I like Sam Hubbard. But aside from that, like, you're going to be going into a division where you got to guard George Pickens, you got to tackle Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, and then whatever the fuck's going to happen with the Browns offense. And I just don't know if they have the guys, the muscle to really keep up with the other contenders. And then the Joe Burrow wrist injury thing,
Yeah, that's
it
scary.
freaks the fuck out of me because no other quarterback in the history of the NFL has ever had this exact injury before. The only guys who have ever had this injury are like offensive linemen. And he's had he can't practice 3 days in a row. He can't throw a football 3 days in a row. That scares me. Not just as a person that would want to bet on the Bengals, because just as a person that loves watching Joe Burrow play football. Like when he's at his best, he's one of the most fun people to watch in the NFL.
The
cool,
greatest
calm,
QB
collected
that
swagger.
never was.
And if that's
might be
his
his
fate,
path.
that's going to be
Yeah.
really fucking
It's gonna be tough,
depressing.
'cause he-
Really depressing.
I mean, that year they went to the Super Bowl. He was maybe the most accurate passer I've ever seen in my life. Just
Yeah, it
he
was
threw
like
the ball.
he was
You
operating
know
like
there
a Drew Brees level.
there was somebody on the other end of it. It kind of all started that DeMar
Damn, well,
Hamlin
it sounds like
game. The downfall of Burrow was kind of they were cooking Bills defense.
Mm.
the butterfly effect there.
Yeah,
Damn, are you blaming
knows
Joe
what
Burrow's
happened?
injury on DeMar Hamlin?
I mean, in a way, yeah. It sounds like it.
that's fucking deep.
God,
That's
I don't think there's
insane.
anything funnier that you've ever said, Bordy, than when they handed it off to DeMar Hamlin in the playoff game on like a 4th and 1 to
Yeah,
try to
jeez.
convert. And you're like just a fucking Make-A-Wish out there.
Yeah, Disney movie or something.
I
They heard
forgot they did
they heard
that.
the
I
theme
totally
playing.
never told that.
I saw that play the other day. It is so, I mean, hindsight's 2020. It's so easy
No,
to
you
just
know
look
what
at
was
that
going
play
on their
and just
head?
laugh.
They ran it to the
Like,
short
what
side of the
fuck
field.
were you thinking?
It's not even like they ran it wide side, get him. They ran it to the short side of the field. I think it was like 4th
And he's
and
not a
4.
running back. He's a safety. It's not like his ball carrier vision turned on.
With
and
brain
it's also
damage.
like
Oh, they were trying to get a story there.
yeah,
I know,
you know
he
what's
got
going
in
on
the
in their head
chest.
was one, story, and two, like maybe they'll feel sorry for us. Maybe it'll be like the Nebraska like training camp thing, like the spring league game where they hand it off to like the kid with cancer and they just let him run for 85 yards. Is that what's going on in their head?
I don't know if they thought they were playing
Like,
the
you
Carolina.
can't touch him.
Well, that worked against the Cowboys. He would have went 25 yards, and it would have been
Yep.
It would have been the SB's Player of the Year against the Cowboys. But the Chiefs are well coached.
It also sounds like, the odds are stacked against the Bengals after just listening to your rundown. Really, they don't have a lot of good things going for them. So if things go the way that I expect them to for the Bengals, they're going to make a movie about this team.
Wow. Okay. All right. Who's your second pick? Or sorry, your fourth pick?
I don't know if this is smart, but I picked the 49ers, so I got to ride kind of the Iowa State in the NFL and go with the Jets at this point. Got to show love to Will
Oh, to
McDonald
Brees.
and Brees Hall.
I thought you were going
And-
to show love to Jake Hummel for a second.
Yeah.
And
I did too.
I really don't love the Jets. I think you guys kind of mentioned it where they're just kind of they're going to get in their own way. I think at some point, there's always just going to be drama whenever Aaron Rodgers is involved in anything. I mean, he breathes and people are like just pissed.
It's like 9/11.
But yeah, I
for the
got
Jets.
to go with that. I think as long as Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, we'll get to 10 wins, and that's what I'm looking for. Maybe 9
I'm very
wins.
high on the Jets. I'm very, very high on the Jets. I think they have
Garrett.
a top 5 defense.
Sauce.
Brees,
Got Mike Williams.
Smith.
Yeah, injury concern, though, I feel like is the biggest thing with this team. Brees Hall, he could go down at any moment, it seems like. Aaron Rodgers, all that hype just to go out on the first drive.
But I think you can almost attribute that to any team. Like if you're just
Yeah.
going to look at it from an injury luck standpoint, it's
Yeah,
just,
taking
some
them-
teams are a little bit more inept to it than others.
Hey,
Yeah,
did they fire their
account.
head coach, too?
No, Saul is still there. That's the reason I didn't pick them, is because I think that he is a walking fucking doofus. I think that
I don't
he's
think
just
he's
a nice
good,
guy
yeah.
with big muscles that happened to be the defensive coordinator of one of the most talented Niners defenses of the last 30 years. And they're like, oh yeah, let's go get that guy. And
It
I
feels like
just
they're
don't
really
him.
checking off a lot of diversity boxes with it, which maybe that's why they're still keeping them. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not saying anything too controversial, but, there's just a lot of drama going on with that guy. And so
Yeah,
now
you get-
I don't love the pick, but I think it'll work out.
He also has
Conrad Reddick
13
for-
kids. Like he's the father of 13 children, and that's just got to be a nightmare. Like, I
Jesus.
can't imagine anybody being able to concentrate on their job with 13 children. So
Got his own little
Instantly
defense.
regretting this pick.
yeah, well, instantly regarding the last 2 picks, the Bengals and the Jets. I like the
No,
Jets.
No,
very
I'm
much
okay with
left.
the Bengals. I'm okay with the Bengals.
Very
I
got
much
faith
more
in
to
them.
left here.
Pats are still on the board.
I can go with
Peter
Atlanta.
Mel Shepard.
Atlanta thinks they're the best team in the league.
You're going with the Falcons? Is that what's happening right now?
I'm gonna go with.
Did you say they think they're the best team in the league?
The Falcons think they're the best team in the league. Let me go with the Packers. NFC's a little weak.
God damn it.
Made it to the NFC Championship last year. Almost made it to.
No, that's a great call.
They got the Packers in the division.
Yeah,
but they should have beat the fucking Niners. They had that. The Niners were down 14 in the divisional and the fucking NFC Championship. But at least you guys took care of them, Riesberg. Packers, good QB, 4 or 5 good receivers. O-line is old and questionable.
Matt LaFleur. He just wins like 11 games every year.
Yep.
I thought there would be a drop-off after Rodgers left. Jordan Love
thought there would be a drop-off?
Been the man. Yeah.
There's no fucking drop-off. He was like decent the first half of the season. Second half of the season, he was like a top 5 quarterback. And it was literal nightmare fuel. Like he is.
Kind of felt like they got better in a way, like new life. I
Those
know that I'm
receivers
not
are so
making the argument
talented.
that Jordan Love's better, but there was definitely Rodgers had to go.
They
New
run a
life
Madden
is just
offense, empty set.
pumped into
you know.
that organization.
They got Jacobs instead of Aaron Jones now. I'm not sure
They
how I
got
feel
full
about
wide
that.
receivers that I feel like the way people talk about the Packers wide receivers are just you could throw a dart at any one of these guys
And that's-
like they
Viv
might
knows
be our
as a
star.
Viv
Like,
knows as
all
a
of them has
basketball coach,
potential.
keeping guys fresh, talented.
Yeah, that's
and they're
interesting. I haven't thought about it
rotating.
that way. But like,
I mean-
they also just have cool names: Romeo Dobbs.
You don't know who's coming
Jaden
in,
Reed,
but they're gonna fucking cook
Dontavion
you.
Wicks.
And then Christian
Yeah,
Watson.
yeah, right. Yeah, Josh Jacobs. They just went out and got him. That's their new running back. They just replaced Aaron Jones with a guy that's like 5 years younger and like kind of a
That
little
was-
bit sexier. And then yeah,
That was weird.
their
Everybody
defense
was
too.
like,
They
they're
got
going to
rid
have
of Joe
Josh
Barry.
Jacobs and Aaron Jones. And then 2 days later, Aaron Jones is a Viking, traded in the division.
I think this is a great pick, Bordy, and I think this might be the best value pick so far because I think they're at 10.5 wins for their line right now. It might
And
be
they're
9.5.
in the playoff. They get in there. They're going to stick around. Anybody.
All right, I will go with. Do I do it? Do I just do it? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's put up or shut up time for that boy, Mike McDaniel.
Really?
And this is a team that scored 70 points in a regular season game last year. I think that people are kind of going to get tired of the shtick this year. Like, we get it. You know, you jewel on the sideline and you wear Fabletics pants. You're pretty much Ralph in 2022. But, like, you got to show that you can win, like, a serious playoff game, which they haven't been able to do. You know, they have the coldest game in the last 10 years in Kansas City last year. I just don't believe in all of that. You know, they had bad injury luck, too. You lose Jalen Phillips in the second half of the season. But I think they're really fucking talented. I think they have the best or second best receiving core in the league, and just Tyreek and Waddle being out there, A-Chain, the speed. And they're in a tough division, but
It's not the
I don't know.
That's
There's
the question. You know, it's
yeah.
what are they going to be defensively? Are they going to hang in Buffalo and New England in the winter? How are they going to go on the road to Kansas City and Buffalo in the playoffs? You know, it's just I'm
But
taking.
like,
the
I
other
shouldn't have
team.
to worry about weather when I'm considering these teams. That should not be a consideration. Like, good football teams should be good no matter what the fucking weather is. They should
Well, some
just
play
show
a
up and
different
ball.
brand for it. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
then you got to adjust your fucking brand because when
Cowboys
is the
get-
Super Bowl going to be?
if the Cowboys
Playoffs are
going to
going to be in January and February every year.
You got to be tough on the
Until we're
O-line.
all
You got to be
playing
tough
in
on the
domes.
D-line. And some teams just aren't. The Dolphins are not tough on the O-line or D-line, so it just doesn't work out well in those cold weather games. Viv,
I'm going to
take the Bears.
fifth and
man.
final pick.
Me and Riesberg are going to.
I'm between the Bears and the Chargers. And the reason I'm between those two teams is I do think that the Bears are one of the more talented teams. I really believe that. I think that they have a shit ton of talent. Like, if you just look 1 through 20, and that's the first time in my life that I can, like, actually say that, and that's a good feeling. The Chargers, on the other hand, I just think Harbaugh's a fucking difference maker, and he's never had a losing season as a coach. He's just going to come in and fucking win games right off the rip. He isn't a patient guy. He's going to want to win right away. but I don't think they're as talented. So give me the Chicago Bears. Let's do it. I'll take the Bears.
Jesus.
Much to my own chagrin. It's probably going to come back to bite me in the ass, but I believe in Caleb. I think that he is. I've been saying it the last 2 weeks. It's way too early to be saying this, but over the next 2 to 3 years, I don't think there is a quarterback in the NFL that is going to be as close to Mahomes as Caleb will be by, let's say, 2027. I think it'll be Mahomes at number 1 still, and then Caleb at 2, Stroud at 3, and then it'll be Josh, Lamar, Herbert, Burrow, etc. I think that Caleb and Stroud are both that good. Something about those light-skinned quarterbacks, man. They just win me over way too fast, and I've never been this happy. I've never had this much hope in my life. I don't you guys have had this before.
You've been playing Madden with Caleb for fucking 2 weeks straight, man.
If I can go 16-1 with the Bears in the regular season this season against this schedule, keep that in mind. They're going against the NFC West and the AFC South. I think the Cardinals are a win. I think the Seahawks and Rams could both be wins. And then the AFC South, I think that they could wash all 4 of those teams. And then the NFC North, you play the Vikings twice. I think they split with the Lions and Packers. I've just talked myself way too deeply into it. Their over is at 8.5 wins. We'll talk about that on another pod here soon. I'm all in on this team, man. I'm not all in on Eberflus. I like him as a defensive coordinator. I'm definitely not all the way in on Shane Waldron, but I'm all in on the talent.
Waldron's
and it's probably
horrible.
sickening to listen to, but god damn it, I'm in.
Waldron, I think, is a bad fit in Chicago. You have bad weather, and you're not going to be able to air it out. Obviously, Seahawks. I don't know why they hired him. Seahawks offense kind of sucked last year, but they're the ones that get to do this. You're right. A lot of talent. Defense is getting there. Yeah, talented QB preying on his downfall. You talked me into the Chargers, though. Let me get the Chargers. Where Herbert goes, or where Harbaugh goes, he usually finds success. If you can get that defense to even play halfway decent, or halfway to their potential, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Derwin James, Asante Samuel Jr. I think they've picked a few linemen that had injury trouble there. I mean, if they could win 8 games with Staley, I think Harbaugh adds 2 or 3 to that total. So they're a heavy bet for their win total this year. It's kind of chalk, but you bet on good coaches.
Is this the most dramatic coaching improvement that we've had over the last 5 years, going from Brandon Staley to Jim Harbaugh? I feel like that is a pretty dramatic difference.
Jason Garrett's
you
Mike
remember
McCarthy
that Raiders
was pretty good, just because Jason Garrett was so bad.
Didn't they give up 60 points to the Raiders last year though, and then all of the Chargers coaches just got fired right after that?
Yeah.
And Brandon Staley was supposed to be a defensive savant, and then that happened, and they're fuck this, you're gone.
And there's been talkings from inside the building. Everybody is just mind blown about oh, this is how our job is supposed to function. This is how an organization is supposed to be run. So I think they'll put some wins together. Tough division, obviously. I think the Broncos will be better than last year. You got the Chiefs in there, obviously, but props to Harbaugh for coming. He could have taken any NFL job, He picks the one with the back-to-back Super Bowl champs in it, He's not running away from a challenge, So y'all are going to have to see them twice a year, Riesberg. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about the Chargers?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's just this feels like the Broncos last year bringing in Sean Payton. We were kind of having the exact same rhetoric and discussion, and they're actually what you just said about Harbaugh coming in the building and people being like, "Oh my God, this is what a football organization is supposed to look like." Said the exact same thing when Sean Payton came in. What the fuck?
Okay, but the Broncos didn't have Justin Herbert, and Jim
Broncos
Harbaugh also went into Michigan. And the Michigan was
Russell.
getting dog-walked for Ohio State for a decade. What happened when he went to Michigan? He ends up taking over, and they slay the dragon in Ohio State. Now, naturally, there was a change between Urban Meyer and Ryan Day, but Harbaugh took advantage of that. And then also, I think when he was with San Francisco, that was around the same time, the Legion of Boom was going off, and he came in, he slayed that dragon in Seattle. I'm not saying he's going to do that to Andy Reid and Mahomes, but it's definitely different than the
I think he would love the nickname.
Peyton was going into Denver and inheriting Russell Wilson. He's going in and inheriting Justin Herbert. And what is the first move that he does with this fucking team? He drafts a big-ass left tackle from Notre Dame that's 6'6", 340. Yep. He's 21 years old. And he's like, we're just going to kick ass. We're going to have Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, and we're going to block the shit out of people. We're going to go get Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Literally just stole 2 running backs from his brother. That'd be like Petey and me in a Madden franchise. I lose, DeAndre Swift and Khalil Herbert. He's just like, Viv did well with them. Let me go get him. Like, that's essentially the idea here. And he's like, fuck it. Like, we don't need Keenan Allen. We don't need Mike Williams. We don't need that pretty ball bullshit. We're going to run it, and we're going to throw it to a guy named Lad McConkey. Like, that's what we're going to do. So I love it. I'm in on the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how it goes. It still feels the same as the Broncos to me. I mean, I'm not sweating over it. I'd be happy if I was a Chargers fan. Shake things up a little bit.
What a group of coaches in the AFC West. You got Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Andy Reid, and
Antonio Pierce.
Ice Cube. Yeah, Ice Cube.
Are we there yet? All right, Riesberg, close it out. The last pick of the wins pool draft.
Yeah, I think I got to go the Rams here.
Yep.
I think I'm going with the Rams, trusting in Goff.
Sticking out to me.
Goff. And hopefully they do something special.
Take the best coach on the board, and that's Sean McVay.
He might be the best coach in the league.
That somebody said that on ESPN the other day. I'm like, Andy Reid just won back-to-back Super Bowls.
Something about his face
Andy Reid
always
has
weirds me
Patrick
out.
Mahomes. Like, I think if you gave McVay Patrick Mahomes, I don't think the situation would be very different. It's the same exercise as Jalen and Dak.
Imagine.
Do you think McVay's
Mahomes
making
is
Goff look
5,
so good, or
Jesus.
vice versa?
McVay made Goff look good, and McVay made Stafford unbelievable. Like, Stafford was stuck in Detroit, and he was still the fucking man. And I think he's still the man. I'm high on Stafford. But, I mean, there's just no way Puka Nacua blows up like he did last year if he's playing for the Titans.
Cup's
he
healthy.
Probably wouldn't have even gotten on the field.
Cup's healthy. They got Whittington out of Texas. Hearing good things about him. They got Verse from Florida State. Good edge.
Fisk.
Did they get Fisk from Florida State too? They got Verse and Fisk?
That's
fucking ham, dude. So they got kind of an Aaron Donald light with Fisk. I love Fisk.
That's the most generous thing anybody's ever said about anybody. The best player of all time, light. Like, yeah.
Way light, but I think
25% of.
I think Fisk's a good player. I mean, and they've done a good job developing D tackles. Line's solid. Kyron and Corum head in the backfield now. It's a fun team. You got to keep Stafford's arm on ice, though.
All right, we'll walk through everybody's teams, and then we'll get out of here. So I had the first pick. I took the Kansas City Chiefs. Then I took the Buffalo Bills, the Detroit Lions, the Miami Dolphins, and the Chicago Bears. So I have 2 NFC North teams, 2 AFC East teams, and 1 AFC West team. Don't feel great about my splits going against each other in the regular season, but I think I have 3 legitimate Super Bowl contenders here, and then 5 legitimate playoff contenders. So I'm feeling pretty good on my list.
I couldn't get out of your own way with that Bears pick, could you?
No, I couldn't. I was between them, the Chargers, and the Rams. So I'm glad that you guys took those 2.
Yeah, honestly, fine. Yeah.
All right, Bordy, what do you think of your 5?
I hate it, but I think
you
I
have
could
the
still
Eagles.
win. I think I could still win the competition. I mean,
You have
whoever
the
wins
Eagles,
the
the
Super Bowl, I
Cowboys,
think.
the Texans, the
Yeah,
Packers,
whoever
and the
wins the Super Bowl.
Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles could pull through with the Super Bowl. All my other teams are going to win some games, though. We can count on that, baby. Count on that shit.
All right, Riesberg, name your 5, and then how do you feel?
Got the 49ers, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Jets, and the Rams. So that's 3 NFC, 2 AFC. And I'm feeling I'm hoping for a surprise here because I'm looking at it and it kind of looks a little crappy. I don't think the 49ers are going to win. I don't think any of these teams are going to win a Super Bowl. But
Easy for you to say, man.
I mean,
we fucking win all of them.
Yeah, we got some potential. I just don't think the 49ers are going to do it. You brought it up earlier. Just I think too much emotional.
They fucking had their chance, man. They've had 3 chances.
They kind of had their chance. We're moving on.
Geez,
the Ravens, I feel like I'm just over them because of Cerrone, where I don't think I see them doing anything. The Bengals, that doesn't sound fun. I don't want to see them win it. The Jets, that'd be a fun one, but there's no way them in Shahila, they're not doing shit. And then the Rams.
Dude, did you just call Robert Saleh Shahila? Dude, I just missed. I have never heard that pronunciation of his name. I've heard Shala, Saleh, Salah, Salah. You said
All
Shahila?
right. Yeah. And then the last time the Rams went 2 years ago to the Super Bowl. So
You just threw an no. You're not skating off this so easy. You just threw an apostrophe and like 2 extra syllables in that name. That's insane. Shahila. You threw 1 extra syllable. That's nuts.
I didn't know the name, but I'm glad we all knew who I was talking about.
My favorite head coach in the league, Andy Reedy. And you got the Rams. I like your 5. Your 5 looks tasty to me. I like Bordy's 5
they look
too.
tasty. They're going to get the regular season wins, but yeah, I think it's coming down to who wins the Super Bowl, and I do like the Chiefs, Bills, and Lions up in there.
All right. Well,
Viv
this has been
got the first pick.
I did not rig it. You saw me list randomize in real time. List randomize is right there.
I didn't see it.
Ralph Bordenberg. All right. Thank you guys for listening. We will tally all of these up throughout the season. I'll probably give like a quarter way through the season update just to see how we're doing. And then, yeah, I mean, the Super Bowl winner, that's going to be some serious. Maybe we shouldn't do 10 points. Maybe we should do 5 points so it's not too dramatic of a.
I think we should make that change right now. Yeah.
Of a differentiator. We can do that. We'll bring it down to 5 points instead of 10.
I think we could regroup if we need to, but yeah.
And I think if you look at these
automatic win.
If you look at these 15 teams, they feel like the teams are at the top half of the league. Maybe the Bears aren't quite there. Maybe that's just me being, a homer. Like some teams that got left off, the Browns, I think could belong in there. The Seahawks, the Bucks, the Steelers are always up there. The Falcons could very easily win that division.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see. All right. We will be back later this week, and we'll be giving out some of our favorite future picks. So make sure to stay tuned to that. But for the meantime, make sure you're following the page. Make sure you listen to the newest episode of Rent Money coming out on Thursday of this week, breaking down week 1 of college football. And we're almost there, man. The NFL is just about here. We got about 10 days, so let's get to it. All right, we'll see you guys on the other side. Peace out.
I'm loving the pop off.